I believe we are.
We are live.
Live. I believe we are live. Okay, here we are. We are live today. It's an international live today. I'm in Canada. Mike's in Dubai, and he's dealing with some issues there right now. So thank you for joining us despite, like, this is true commitment, guys. There's what is happening in the background, Mike, and what are you dealing with, just so that everybody understands, like, the level of discipline and commitment that you are doing because of this live stream. So please share.
Can't talk about it.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Can't talk about it. So we don't talk about situations over here while we're here.
Okay. Let's just say that Mike is dealing with world issues.
There's a situation in the Middle East, and that's
situations in the Middle East. But right now,
Sean is there.
Oh, there we are! Yay! Oh my goodness, so excited! We had this gentleman last week, and there was a bit of a technical glitch, but today we've solved that. I want to introduce none other than Sean Whalen to the stage. Yay!
What's up?
What's
up?
Oh my God.
Now I can even see you, man.
Now we got it. We got it. We beat the Instagram overlords.
Yes, we did. And now we see you, the patriotism, the everything. We love it. We love it. We love it. So guys, this is us. We have Sean Whalen here today. He is a father, entrepreneur, best-selling author, coach to many men, founder of the brand Lions Not Sheep. And we are going to dive deep today on what it means for Mike to build a brotherhood, and also what is lion mentality. In today's day and age, we're going to talk about the lion mentality and the importance of brotherhood as it pertains to, self-discipline, work, family, relationships, fatherhood. These gentlemen will speak to fatherhood. I can speak from the perspective as a woman who has dealt with and heard all of the issues and challenges that come with weaker men, and also with aggressive men and men that use power and money and status for the wrong reasons. And I can't think of two better people to really dive deep into this and help all of us. So grab your notebook, share this. If you're watching, hit that like button, hit that share button to the audience and to any man or woman who's looking to have a man in their life to level up, to respect, and all those things. So Sean, thank you for coming here. Where are you sitting from right now? Like, what part of the world? Tell us a little bit about where you're coming in.
I'm in Utah right now at my home office. As you said, very patriotic. Some cool art from my friend, the Stars and Stripes, but in just outside of Salt Lake City.
Amazing. Yeah, I've been to Salt Lake City a few times. I was just there.
How's the climate there, Sean? What's the weather like?
Oh, dude, it's beautiful right now. It's like March. There should be snow all over the place, and there's no snow. It's wild. So it's like supposed to be 80 degrees all week, which is great. I love being outside, but we've got no snow. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, wow. So usually every year you have snow around this time of the year?
Yeah. I mean, this time last year, there was probably 4 feet of snow up at my ranch on the ground, and literally there is no snow at my ranch right now. 0. It's pretty crazy.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I just came back from Sundance Film Festival, and I got to say, the climate, I mean, as much as I love the climate because I don't want to be trekking through the snow, I also know that so many people and celebrities go there for the skiing and the mountains.
Oh, yeah.
So it felt like I was there in the spring instead of that. So that kind of led to me, this isn't normal, as much it's not normal. Kind of weird.
Definitely a different year for sure.
100%. All right, we're going to dive right into it. Let's talk about right now radical ownership and hard resets. Both of you have experienced that, and maybe there are men right now that need the reset or experiencing that or need the radical ownership. So first to you, Sean, what was the moment that you realized that your life, because you're all about accountability, that wherever you were at in life was 100% your fault? And what changed in the moment that you realized that? If you can, maybe it was a moment, a time. Can you dive deeper on that?
Yeah. No, I mean, I have those moments every day. Like, I want to fall victim every day. I have like the woe is me thoughts and the bullshit in my head every single day. And so I think it's a reoccurring experience, you know, for a guy to like look at his life and say, okay, well, here's where I am today. Here's where my money is, my family, my body, whatever. But a real turning point for me was about 15 years ago when I went through a divorce, and that first post that I posted went viral. And it was the first time that I had really told the truth. What I mean by that, it was like, you ask a guy, how you doing? I'm good. You know, how's everything going? I'm good. And guys aren't like, well, I'm fucking pissed, or I'm sad, or I'm frustrated, or I'm depressed, or whatever. And I remember sitting down one night writing this Facebook post. And this is right after my divorce, and I just dumped out the truth. I was like, yeah, I was a dick. And yeah, I was sad, and I was angry, and I had all these fears and these emotions and stuff. And that post went viral. And I realized two things in that moment. Number one, I reached literally tens of millions of people. So it was like, all these people resonate with kind of like my darkness, like my fears, my anger, whatever. And number two, I felt better. And I was like, all right, you know, I don't need to hide. I don't need to lie. I don't need to pretend that I'm this or I'm that. I can just tell everybody the truth. And for the last, 14, 15 years, that's kind of been my journey through social media with Lions Not Sheep. The whole thing is just tell the fucking truth, because we're all going through shit. Everybody's going through shit. And it's just so much lighter to be able to be in that space. It's so much more empowering. It's more profitable to just tell the fucking truth. So for me, that was kind of the turning point. And ever since then, it's just been, doesn't matter how ugly it is, how much I win, how much I lose. Like, this is the truth. This is me. This is where I'm at. Game on.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah.
I love that. And how challenging, because at that time, were you already running Lions Not Sheep?
Mm-mm.
Not then. Okay. And are we talking about for the audience, was that a first marriage, a second marriage, or that was your primary partnership?
This was my first marriage. I was in my just barely over 30, and it was cataclysmic. I mean, it was heartbreaking. And it was a really dark period of time, because I grew up in a single parent home, no silver spoon. I was a self-made multimillionaire by 25 years old. And so I checked all the boxes. Like, I had the houses, the cars, the family, the thing. I had success, and I hated who I was. I hated my life. And people were like, oh, it doesn't make any sense. And until you go through it, then you get it. Right. And so for me, it was that marriage ending, and I had what some would call like a midlife crisis. I left this company that I started. We were doing, $1 million a week in sales. And I literally started from scratch and left my company, left my marriage, and kind of stuck my head up my ass trying to figure out like why I was even here. You know what I mean? So
amazing.
It was a cool time. But it was very pivotal. Like, Lions Not Sheep was born out of that time. Like, I was doing real estate. I've done almost 4,000 real estate transactions and flips and the whole thing. And I was a big real estate guy. And in that moment, Lions Not Sheep was born. And so, fast forward the last decade and a half, and here we are.
I love that. Well, I'm not sure that you're familiar with Mike's moment when he had that realization. So for your sake and for the audience, the new audience that's listening, and Mike, can you share what your moment was like for everyone?
It's so much alike, Sean. It's so much alike. It's not the same story, but it's the exact same emotion. And so, yeah, I was when I was 29, I checked out of a big business. It was a $300 million business, and then for 8 years, I lived wild. Wolf of Wall Street. That was my lifestyle. There's not a substance I didn't take. There was not a woman I didn't try. There was nothing I didn't try. And I went into a relationship, and I calmed down, you could say. But we were kind of wild together. And she got pregnant as the mother to my child today. But at that point, my bank account was going down. I was almost broke. And what the mother to my daughter signed up for was not a broke dude. That's not what she wanted. And you can respect her for that, and I respect her for that. And we had a bad relationship. She threw me out when my daughter was 3 months old. And the only way I knew how to handle emotions was to run away from it. So I partied it away. I ran to Ibiza. I just drank my brains out and took all the substances that I could. But my pivot moment was when I'm on day number 3 in Ibiza on a bender. I haven't slept, and my alarm goes off, but I'm not sleeping. And on the background photo, I see my daughter. And that's the first time I realized that, fuck, if she marries a man like me, man, I would murder him. I would literally kill him. So I just realized that I was not the man that I wanted my daughter to be. And I realized, like Sean, that I don't like myself. I literally hated myself. So from that day on, I declared war against that version. Yeah.
Wow, love that. Very similar journey. So let's start with Sean. Where do you see men lying to themselves the most? Is it in their body, their business, their marriage, or money? Like, and how do they punch through that kind of denial?
Well, I think the easiest benchmark and the most exposing benchmark is in your body. I mean, I always say this, I can tell you what you've been doing for the last 6 months. Just take your shirt off or show me your bank account or, whatever else. And so I think that the easiest benchmark, I mean, we lie, period. And I think zooming out, like going back a little bit, I don't think when I ask people, I'm like, are you a liar? Most people say no. Right. And having coached tens of thousands of people, like that's kind of where then the next question is, well, do you lie? And the answer is yes. Well, then how do you reconcile the two? And it's like, did you do 10 reps or did you do 9? You know what I mean? Is your bench max 335 or is it 330? And we have these little nuanced lies that just compile. And so for me, I feel like nowadays, especially with social media, because it's so exposing and it's so vulnerable, like we're lying about everything and we're not considering ourselves liars, but we're not telling the truth. And that's how I was, 15 years ago. It was like, I'm not a liar, but I wasn't telling the truth. And I think that's the real game that most men play, is at what cost? Like, who am I? Like, what am I really doing here? And I feel like the more you compile those small little lies, like, again, you just take your shirt off. Everybody's sore. Mike, you get sore. I get sore. I'm fucking 47 years old. I've had shoulder surgery, blown out both my knees, all the laundry list of shit. But when I take my shirt off, I have a 6-pack. And so it's like,
yeah, baby.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't lie about that. You can't buy that. And so I think that's the real liberating opportunity for men, is to just tell the fucking truth. Say, no, I'm a lazy sack of shit. I like to play video games. Oh, great. Well, then don't say that you want to get in shape, because you don't, because what you're showing is different. And I think that's really where our culture and our society is like, men want the results, but we lie. And until we stop lying, we're not going to get the results, whether it's family, whether it's business, whether it's body, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah.
So for you, Mike, where do you notice that men in the Brotherhood tend to lie the most?
Oh, you can see it in their confidence. So there's a pure correlation between, because every time you lie, let's just take it out. Let's say you have 2 people inside of you. You have the guy who tells the truth and the guy who lies. You take them out and say, now you're going to become best friends. You're not going to trust the guy who lies. There's no way you can trust this guy. There's no way you're going to feel like that guy who lies, that he values your friendship. So your self-esteem goes down and your self-trust, which is your confidence, goes down. So you can feel it. And the lower it gets, the more they have a need of lying, because they feel like they're not good enough. So the best, what I see is that when they finally meet, so that was the first time in my life I told the truth as well. Yeah, I took a lot of cocaine. I fucked up. And, I said it, and I said it out loud. It was, as Sean says, it was very freeing, not because I had a need of saying it. I just had a need of being honest at the level I was at. And when we are in the group calls, we start to we catch them in lies all the time, and they love that. They love that. We're like, bro, why are you lying about that? There's no reason for, like, okay, you didn't wake up 5 a.m. When did you wake up? It was, I don't know, it was 6 a.m. But why? Just when was it? I was 7:30. It was 7:30. Do better. So you can't really work with a lie, and you really see it in their eyes. That's why I see it. Of course, you can see it in their physique. It tells the truth. Do you go to the gym? Okay, maybe you go to the gym, but you eat like crap. Like, you can see it, but you can definitely see in a man's eye if he's a liar.
So, Sean, when you told on yourself, right, in public that way, what was your biggest fear, and then what was your biggest surprise to the reaction of you taking that action?
My biggest fear was just being exposed, and I think that's every man's biggest fear, is the exposure of what the truth really is. Like me acknowledging that I had pain and anger and frustration. It was like, oh, dude, I can't show that. That's weakness, right? And the thing that I learned is, like I mentioned, there's 2 things. When that first post, that was kind of my turning point. When that post went viral, it was like, what the fuck? I mean, I had like 500 friends, followers on Facebook. I went from that to like 50,000 in 2 weeks. And all these people going, oh my God, you figured it out, whatever. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck, y'all? Like, I'm not Dr. Phil. Like, what do you guys talk about? Like, why? I don't get this, right? But it was interesting because people resonated with the darkness. They resonated with the truth. I know that's why it went viral, is because it was so weird to see, because a guy with tattoos and a beard and smokes cigars and says fuck a lot, he's supposed to just be the alpha guy that just does what he does. And I was like, no, dude, I was scared and I was afraid. And I had a ton of fear and I had a ton of anger and all of this other shit. And I was like, whoa, pump the brakes. What? The people, millions of people saw this post. And that's what the biggest takeaway I had is holy shit, like this is my real, and millions of people resonated with it. They weren't resonating with the fake flex. They resonated with the real. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, then for me, like that takeaway led to, well, if that's, I mean, just marketing 101, right? What works? I was like, well, from a marketing standpoint, if the truth works and I feel better because now you're not hiding. And I think that's where guys, like, you should be able to just pull your bank, like open up your app and just show me your bank balance. Like that's what the truth is. It doesn't matter what deals didn't go through or what, like, that's what it is. Those numbers right there. That's the truth. That's it. No stories, no bullshit. Like take your shirt off. Like that's what it is.
Yeah, I love that.
That's it. And I think that's what's dope for me is like, it's so simple that way. But why guys don't do that is the exposure and the fear. And when I did that post, there was a lot of pushback. There were a lot of people that did know me. They were like, yeah, you were an asshole. Yeah, you were a dick. And I think that's what people fear. And what I tell my clients and what I've shared for years is no matter what you do, you're going to be judged. If you're driving a Rolls Royce or you're driving a Honda Civic, somebody's going to judge you no matter what. If you're shredded, it's because you take steroids. If you're fat, it's because you're a lazy piece of shit. No matter what you do, what you say, what you drive, what you earn, how you look, someone is going to judge you. So like my brain just kind of went into that mode where I was like, all right, well, then why don't I just do the shit I want to do? Because if they're going to judge me no matter what, I would much rather drive a Lamborghini than drive a Honda Civic. Well, they're going to judge me either way. So fuck it. I'll just get the Lamborghini and let people judge me. And that's kind of been my life for the last decade, is just doing whatever the hell I want to do, knowing that people are going to judge me no matter what. It's unbelievably liberating.
What was the driver to you being a dick and being an asshole? Like when you were like looking at yourself, like the mayor, we don't need to dive into the big personal thing. Were you a father at that time? Did you have children with this woman? Okay.
I mean, our pride, our ego.
Yeah.
Pride, plain and simple. Every man listening to this, if you're married, you know the buttons to push. You know how to piss your girl off. If you're divorced, like you're going through a divorce, I knew how to piss her off. And that's exactly what I did, because I was hurting and I was angry and I was sad and I didn't want her to go be happy. So I wanted her to be miserable too. And so like, that's what we do. Pride, arrogance, ego. And when we could go down the rabbit hole in this, but like when you think about this from a success standpoint, and Mike, you know this, like most men do not truly cheer for other people's wins. Most men secretly harbor jealousy, frustration, pride, ego. And when you can flip that script, like that's when you can really change the game in your mindset. When you look at another dude and he just bought a Lambo or he's whatever, and you're like, fuck yeah, man. And you're genuinely stoked for that guy. And you're cheering him on. Like you are truly cheering him on and not being like, yeah, great job, dude. Fuck him. I know about this past and he's a bitch and whatever. You're like that's that game. And that's where most men stay stuck. I think honestly, I don't believe in trolls. I don't believe in haters. I don't have any haters. I have no haters. If you're talking about me, I won. Because the goal is recognition. You know what I'm saying? Eyeballs. If you're talking about me, I won because I already am in your brain. But think that through for 2 seconds. Like, when you're really, truly operating from a place of abundance and all these catchy keywords, but like when you really want people to win, that energy is so fucking infectious, but it's almost impossible for you to not win. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mike, you talk a lot about having had to kill the version of you that you were, which is the guy that basically Sean is describing, right? Looking at other dudes going, fuck that guy, or I had this, or I had that, right? Like you talked about that. I know your story very intimately. And by the way, just a quick shout out, Mike's book, Man Up, is literally his, I guess, but not Bible. It is his memoir of him going from
this testament of my crazy life.
A testament to his crazy life and how he transformed that, right? So talk to us about the lower self and higher self. I think you're the best person to explain that.
No, but it all comes down to it's insecurity, right? It's completely just insecurity, and it's the fear of not being good enough. But good enough for what? So when I was, I was not the guy who would be, I would be genuinely cheering my closest friends. I always did that since I was 20, since I became an entrepreneur and I understood that game. But then there would be people where I still had it in me, but I was too, you can lie to yourself so good. Like you have your lower self is, that's the lesser version of you, the more pathetic version of you. And that version is so manipulated. It can literally, that's the one that makes you do shit you regret afterwards. Or it makes you do shit you shouldn't be doing, but it's so good to convince you to do it and rationalize and justify. And you can become a master in that. So if you don't stop, I love it. You call self-lies, Sean. Self-lies is a very dark alley to go down because you become a master in self-lies. So you don't even fucking know what is true anymore. So you think you feel like that. So you can't really tell the difference. So what I noticed was I had to hit rock bottom. Like I had to be, when I'm standing there, I'm looking in the mirror. 2 weeks later, I'm looking at my bank account. I have $1,000. I think I have $1,250 on my account. I was like, fuck. What the fuck happened? I had few investments that went wrong. I haven't looked at my bank account for a long fucking time because I thought it would never end, but it did. And then I remember how humbled I got. And talking about honesty, Sean, I really love you said that because after that experience, I've decided to be honest because who am I to pretend I have all this money when I'm a broke piece of shit? Right. So I'm standing down in the grocery shop and I remember for the first time in my life in 10 years, I'm looking at the prices and I don't even remember that feeling. I'm like, fuck, tuna in water or tuna in oil. I don't fucking know how long can that last? I just needed a month. I needed just a month of food. And that's where I decided that was in March 2025 was where I, described that moment honestly for the first time in my life. And since then, my Instagram blew up. I wasn't ready to tell that story for a year. I was so ashamed of it. So I had to go through a lot of development. But I think, Sean, what I really love about, what I really love about you is because you have, for many years, you have set the word, because I've been following you for a while, bro. When I was a liar to myself, I've been looking at you. How does he do it, man? I love that energy. I just felt what you were doing was right. And I wanted to do it, but then I was like, he's a prick. My and then here I am 2 years ago, I'm like, okay, now I understand how you feel. So I think you said it, you have to, Confucius, the Chinese philosopher, he said it, what I see, I forget, what I hear, I remember, but what I do, I know. You have to go through it before you understand it. I believe so.
That's the weird thing is it's kind of like as a coach and having worked with so many people, like I want to help people avoid pitfalls and stuff as much as possible. But part of me is like, you know what? Go out and fuck your whole life up. Like just go ruin your whole life. And then you're going to figure it out because it's almost like you have to. And, we all have our cross to bear. Like we all have something in our life that needs to change, whatever else. But there's really nothing more beautiful than a guy just with his back up against the wall. Like you don't have any options, bro. Like there's no silver spoon. There's no anything. Now what, motherfucker? Like now what? And that's what I think is cool about this conversation and what we're doing is the people that I know that have built the dopest lives, that have the biggest results, that are truly like changing the game, they have the most jacked up stories. Like they have gone down a dark path, a dark road, addictions, things like that. And they had to figure it out. And I think that's what, not every guy needs to go become a heroin addict to figure out that he doesn't want to be an addict, right? But like every dude looks at himself in the mirror and is like, fuck, man, like this isn't it. Like this isn't it.
Yeah, I love
It's like
that.
it activates. I spoke with one of my friends. His name is Rafa Primal Fitness. He's really. This guy used to be a super gangster. There's no joke about this guy. So he flipped. But we spoke about it the other day. We had a good workout together, and I can't remember how we got into the subject. But he says, "Man, I miss the feeling of having nothing." I said, "What do you mean?" Because you're just so fucking motivated. He said. And the way he described it was right, because you just said it, Sean. When you literally have your back against the wall, I think that's where your survival mechanism, your masculine, and everything takes over, and you just say, "Fuck it," and then you go. But then, Sean, you've been coaching on so many men. A question for you: so, have you ever met guys that you coached that were standing at that crossroad? Or you probably but where they chose to go down another path, where they didn't go forward, when they go further down. I've never experienced that in my own life.
Oh yeah, no, I have quite a few times. That's what's interesting about, like, I've been running this coaching group, the Lion's Den, for the last 10 years. We've had 53,000 people join it, and it's really fascinating to me to watch people. Like, I love observing people. I love like psychology. I mean, I'm reading books. Like, I have books everywhere. I love to study. I love the human brain. I love the nuance of just being a human, right? There have been so many people that came into my coaching group. They were kind of one of those, like, all right, let's see what this guy's all about kind of a thing. And a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, there's a small percentage of people that come in that have that pride, that have that ego. They're like, fuck this guy, whatever. They leave, right? And 6 months later, I get the DM. I'm like, hey man, my life's shit. A group, I didn't do what you said. I had pride, I had ego. And there's a lot of people that do that. And that's where I think most men are. And one of my favorite ideas and thoughts is the very best leaders have mastered the art of following. And I think this is the real essence of men and masculinity, is like, do you have the ability to find somebody further down the path than you, shut the fuck up and follow them? Because we just want to be leaders. And I get this. I'm a leader. Like, I'm leading my family, my kids, my businesses. But there is, until I'm like the Forbes #1 richest guy in the world, there's a shit ton for me to learn about the guys ahead of me. Until I'm Captain America, Mr. Olympia, there's a lot for me to learn. And I think that's where guys, especially like our age, like you guys in their 30s, 40s, early 50s, like, we have so much fucking pride in asking for help. We have so much pride in asking for guidance, and like, well, dude, why would I spend a couple $100 a month to join your program and whatever else? I'm like, if I gave you one fucking nugget, dummy, that ended up making you millions of dollars, is it worth it? Well, yeah, and we just stay in our fucking, like, this ego where I don't want to show up and sit and listen. I don't want to be, and I've seen it all the time. I've seen it so many times. I've seen so many men come into my program or come coach with me, and there's just that chip on their shoulder, and they go do the dumb shit anyways. And then 6, 8, 12 months later, they're like, fuck.
They haven't crashed enough.
I'm like, yeah, man, I told you I was right. You should have fucking listened to me. It has saved you a lot of heartache and whatever else, but get your ass back in the game. But we're all like that. We're all like that.
Yeah.
I want to focus on, some of the solutions, and you're known for the core 4 and daily standards. Walk us through your core 4, meaning power, passion, purpose, production, and what does a non-negotiable day look like for you right now?
So I learned this from my dear friend, coach, mentor, Garrett White. Garrett learned it from Kevin Nations. Kevin Nations learned it from the OG Stephen Covey. And it's basically like the 4 pillars, and everybody's got their own version of it, right? Garrett's is body, balance, being, business. I converted it to power, passion, purpose, and production. So power is the body, passion, relationships, purpose is the mindset and spirituality, and then production is the money. And what was so dope about learning core 4, and that's what I wrote about in my book, is it breaks everything down into bite-size, tangible objectives. Like, case in point, if you're fat, saying, I want to lose 100 pounds. If you're going to the gym every day trying to lose 100 pounds, you're fucked. But if you go to the gym every day to get 10,000 steps in or to lose 1 pound, you compound that. I mean, it's the same thing with money. I want to make $1 million. If you're focused every day on the $1 million, I guarantee you're not going to hit it. But if you're focused on the $2,200 and something a day that you need to make over 365 days, you'll hit it. So Core 4 breaks everything down because there's nothing happening in my life, anybody's life, that doesn't have to do with your body. It doesn't have to do with relationships. That doesn't have to do with your mindset, and doesn't have to do with money. Every aspect, every person I come in contact with every day, there's a relationship there. And it doesn't matter if it's the grocery store clerk or my girlfriend or my kids. Everything I'm doing is either accelerating, financial abundance and wealth or not. Body, it's the same thing. Like I'm either building the body every single day. So, when you ask about the non-negotiables, this isn't a program. This isn't like a theory. It is my life. Core 4 is literally how I operate. From the second I get up, like every single thing, I send out text messages every day. I go to the gym every day. I mean, it's become so ingrained in my brain that like whenever I travel, I will look at whatever hotel I'm staying at based off the gym that they have or the location to where a gym is. Like I went to Hawaii.
It shows, Sean.
It's just how it is. Like that is literally how I determine shit, because I have, and now look, I can go outdoors and do an outdoor workout just fine, but I love weights and I love lifting weights. I spent a month in Hawaii last year, and literally it was like the second I landed, I called the UFC gym. I said, I need a month-long membership. They said, great. And I bought a month-long membership and went every single day, because it's ingrained in my brain that I have to be doing something every day. I am doing something every day to make money, to spiritually connect myself, to educate myself, literally just putting nuggets in my brain every day and, working out, staying in shape. I mean, I've been in the best shape of my life for the last 8 years. And that doesn't, you know what I mean? There's peaks and valleys, and I blew out my shoulder and had a couple months where I was a little bit softer, but I still had the six pack. So it's like when guys get to that place where I talk about this in my book, and I'll finish with this, like we're trying to eat the elephant. You can't eat the elephant in one bite. And the elephant might be a six pack. It might be a dope marriage. It might be $1 million a year. Well, most dudes are trying to make the $1 million. I'm just over here taking little bites, trying to make $2,000 a day. You know what I mean? I go to the gym every single day, 6 days a week is when I lift weights, and I just go every day. And some days are better than others, but like it's that radical commitment to the daily work to get the big result. And that's really how I've been able to, navigate storms and go through divorce or go through, whatever else and still get results.
Wow. Okay. So I have a burning question, because you have the Core 4. Mike has his 6-step blueprint. I love that you guys have chosen a way of living. This, as you said, this isn't a diet. This isn't something you take on. Like, this is how you live. This is how you operate. Mm-hmm. I have to know, like, what's a bad day look like? Like, when do you fall off that discipline wagon? Does that ever fucking happen? And I'll start with, like, I know Mike 365 days of the year, and I've seen him because we've been working together for over 6 months. Cold plunge. I'm part of his inner community in the Wolfpack Brotherhood. I see the accountability. So let's start with you, Mike. I want to hear what that looks like, because you guys are human, right? So how do you deal with, do you ever have a bad day? What does that look like?
Of course you have a bad day. You just don't fucking give a fuck about it. What can you do? Sometimes it hits you. It's just like, so I, first of all, big shout out, Sean. I love you for course. That's just
Thanks,
everyone
man.
who's listening to that, listen to this guy. He's right. And I've read, I probably can't remember, but I've read 700 books. It took me 700 to, I should just read 14. But what you're saying is that it's simple, not easy. But when you know it, you stick to it, becomes a habit, and you just follow it. So a big applause to that. I love that. But my 6 tips are more directed towards a guy who has self-sabotage. So, so I went on a journey where I just had to, I couldn't figure out, why the fuck do I want to do all these bad things? Why do I have desires for all that? And that, it came in pieces. So for example, funny story was when I decided I knew I just had to stop myself. That was the first. Just stop doing dumb shit. And then I've realized that after 9 p.m., that's where all the dumb shit thoughts happened. So I just decided to go to bed. Fuck you. I can't discuss with you. I don't want to discuss. I'm just going to go to bed. And then I wanted to go to war against my old self. So I knew that this guy liked comfort. He liked pleasure. Fuck you. I'm going to give you a cold plunge 4 a.m., bitch. So that's what I did. So I just gave myself a cold plunge. But funny enough, I really liked it. I really loved the feeling I got from living up to myself. And then I was so bored because I was living in Spain at that time. What shall I do from 4 to 7 when the gym opens? There was nothing I could do. Okay, I started reading them. So then I started studying. And I dived into spiritual books and brain books, psychology, everything. And if you spend 3 hours every single day, that compounds. That's a lot of full days where you study. And then of course hit the gym, etc. But my sixth step is more taken for, like, first, step 1 is called wake up, because you can't kill an enemy you can't see. If you want to murder your old version, you got to know who that motherfucker is on every account and take responsibility for him, make amends to the people that you've been hurting. Not right away, but when you overcome him, then you have a long list of people you call and say, I'm fucking sorry. And step number 2 is physical discipline. It's just like, use your physical body as a proof that you are who you say you are, because the faster you believe in it, the faster you become it. And step number 3 is where we start to look at, now you've been becoming a master and stopping him. Now you can separate yourself from that guy. You've been disciplining him. You've been punishing him and showing him who's the champion. And you also start to look great. It always makes a men who says they feel good. They say they feel good when they're fat. That's not true. I don't believe in that. It's a rationalization. Anyway, step number 3 is where it's the character shift. That's where you start to think about, okay, who do I want to be? You look at people you look up to. It could be Sean. I like Sean's fucking confidence. I like his 6-pack. And then I take this guy, and you just put it together and you nail down their non-negotiables, their life principles, their life values, and their standards for themselves. And you figure out which one of them, what do I want? And you start practicing that. Step number 4 is, have you heard about that, Sean? Conscious congruency. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's where you really start to listen to the right voice. And that's the one who always tells you afterwards you've been a bad boy, or it tells you before you're a bad boy. So that's the concept where I teach them that. And step number 5, have you ever heard about the Toltecs in South Mexico?
The what?
The Toltecs. So the 4 Agreements, the book, the 4 Agreements. Yeah. So there you go. I love that. It's amazing. I really love that concept, the art of detachment. And it's so true. I literally practice that every day. Number 1 is always be impeccable with your word. How beautiful is that? Because you catch yourself talking shit to yourself and others, mostly others, because you talk to yourself like that all the time. Number 2, take nothing personal. And that was difficult. How don't you take anything personal? That's difficult. I figured the only way I can take nothing personal, because if I call Sean, now I'm pretty sure he doesn't give a fuck now. But if I call Sean when he was weak, in his weakest moment, 15, 16 years ago, something that he would be attached to, he would get hurt. But if I called him, Sean, you're a blue fucking car, you wouldn't give a shit. What do you talk about? So I knew that if I keep my promises to myself, so I know who I am all fucking 24 hours a day, no matter what Sean says or whoever judges me, I know who I am. So that's that step. And make no assumptions. I still struggle with that. And then the 4th one is always do your best. So that's my 5 steps. And then I just give them away so they can set up goals for the next, 1, 3, and 5 years and put that guy into the goal.
Yeah, very, very sim. You guys have very similar ways of dealing with it. But back to you again now, Sean. Like, what's a bad day look like? Like, how do you deal when you're not on it, or can you actually say, like, I'm on it 24/7?
Yeah, well, I mean, what is a bad day? Like,
maybe you're out. You know that you're out of integrity.
No. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, yeah. I think, guys, if you step back, you're like, oh, I'm at a bad day. Well, what made it bad? You know what I mean? And so I've started to really go down the rabbit hole of my own spirituality and my own mindset. And even just saying, bad, what does that mean? Because the days that I want to burn everything to the ground, the days I want to friggin' like just, stop doing whatever, they all teach me something. Like, all of the days are teaching me something. So those days, case in point, going through a divorce, didn't see this coming in the middle of this like crazy thing. Like I have two choices. Like I can blame and be mad and this, that, but it's like what I've learned in the last 2 years navigating a divorce, like has taught me things that this could only teach me. And so to me, it's kind of like, is this a bad situation or is this teaching me something? You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, there's no such thing as a bad workout. Did you work out? Yes or no? You might not have lifted as much as you did yesterday, but you worked out. Like, is there a bad conversation? No, like we didn't like it or it taught. So I think reframing everything to like, what is this teaching me? There are days that I don't do jack shit. There are days that I have a bunch of stuff to do. My brain is fucked. I'm over here. I'm mad. I'm sad. I'm pissed off. And I'll literally lay on my couch and watch 2 movies.
Yes. Yeah.
Fuck everybody. I'll shut my phone off and I'll literally just watch movies. Like that happens to me on the regular. And so I think guys stepping back and realizing like they look at guys like Mike and David Goggins and Andy Frisella or whatever else. And they're like, oh, they're always on. Ask any of those dudes. No. And they will all tell you there are days where I'm like, fuck everybody, fuck everything. And that's just real. And so I think like guys just being okay with that and saying that's normal. And you're not shaming yourself. You don't feel bad. You know what I mean? Now, if you have a lot of those, you got a problem. But, there's at least one day a week where I'm like, fuck everybody. Like, I don't know why I'm even doing this shit.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Well, thank you for your honesty. That's
for sure.
And I think the laughter, and by the way, there's women that are watching this. So you guys are not just speaking to a male audience, although it's largely male. We as women are married to them. We're dating them. We're interested in them. We've been effed by them. And we've also been, experienced the highs and lows of that. Right. And to your point, Sean, when it comes to personal relationships, because you can control yourself, right? One of the things I'll share with you that I followed you for many years was the dating and relationship and partner advice that you gave. Like I've been in the dating and matchmaking industry since 1992. So we're going over 3 years now. And the last 10 years, I've only ever worked with very high level entrepreneurs and coaches like Mike, like yourself. I don't want to name drop the people who I know and have worked with. And I have to say relationships are probably the biggest challenge and the most important choice that you're going to make. I think you guys can agree with that when it comes to, your life, love, business and whatnot. So what was that like for you to be so public and to have your, relationship so scrutinized? I've read your posts. It's really, there's sometimes I couldn't hold back my tears.
I want to read it.
Yeah. Oh my God. And by the way, Mike, I couldn't put Mike's book down without every chapter. I fucking cried. Like I cried, and I'm in menopause, so perimenopause. So maybe that's why I'm so friggin' emotional. So I'd love to hear from you on that in terms of like the strength that it took for you to share what you shared and the biggest challenge or advice that you can give to men that have all of it together. And, the relationship part is still something that they're working out.
That's a deep question. I mean, I believe that God gave me this gift of, this platform and my voice years ago, and he just wants me to use it. And so to me, I didn't wake up one day and go, hey, I want to be this social influencer. Like I want to have millions of followers. I just kept living my life and sharing and growing. And this thing came. And so when I got remarried a couple of years ago, I mean, I was all in. I'm all in with everything I do, whether it's my businesses, whether it's my body. And so, I went from being kind of the single guy to now getting married. So there were millions of people like, dude, who's this chick? What is this? And it was very public and I don't regret any of it, period. Like our podcast that we had together, we reached millions and millions of people. Like you said, I have had hundreds of thousands of people over the last 5 years that have been touched by what we shared, what I talked about, so on and so forth. I don't regret any of it. What I realized is that one of my realizations over the last couple of years as I've been navigating this divorce, I was only married for 3 years and, different conversation for a different day. But my ex-wife decided she didn't want to be married anymore, left her 4th marriage. Again, different conversation. I didn't know about, whatever. But what I realized is like I had 2 choices. being in the public eye, to get into a Johnny Depp, Amber Heard bullshit, crazy spectacle, or pull back and heal and be able to navigate this while my name was being talked about, while the smear campaign and the whole thing, because I'm a fighter. I've always been a fighter. And a lot of my friends that have, watched what's gone on, they said that's been the most interesting thing about watching all this, is that you're watching just like insane things be said about you and you're not responding to any of it. And so for me, it was kind of this lesson of like, what am I trying to prove? Who do I have to prove anything to? I've got a phenomenal relationship with my kids. My kids are healthy. You navigate shit in divorce and business and whatever else, but like, what am I trying to prove? And so for me, I think the lesson coming out of this is there's quite a few of them. I mean, number one, that was really the first time in my life that I was in a relationship where I was all in. Like, I made the choice when I got married. I was like, I'm going to give her everything. And I'm not just talking about shit. Like, I'm going to go as deep in my heart and my soul and my consciousness that I'd ever gone with any human being ever. And I did. And so for me, it was kind of like really cool to know that I can do that. Now, what she does with it and how that's totally up to her. But the other thing too is like realizing that 51% of marriages are ending in divorce. Male suicide is at an all-time high right now. And there's a lot of men who are navigating divorce who are suicidal. I mean, the statistics literally are 50% of marriages are ending in divorce. So half of the men in this country either have gone through a divorce or will go through a divorce. So me doing this in a very public way and navigating it the way that I did, I know that there are literally tens of millions of men that what I learned, how I learned it, how I navigated it, what I did wrong, all of that is a very, very pivotal part of my messaging and where I'm going and what I'm building. So I didn't ask for it. I didn't want it. It wasn't fun. It hasn't been fun, but it has been one of the single most influential experiences of my life.
I love that. And really thank you for sharing, because as a relationship coach and matchmaker for so many years, the fact that you gave it from what you shared, gave it your all, like literally did it. And outside of your own control, didn't work out. For some men, they might have taken, oh, fuck that, whatever. And I'm never going to do this again. And I'm never going to have that feeling again. Yet you're here today, still probably grieving. What was that grieving process like for you? And how did you reconcile with you going all into shit? We have no control of what other people do, right? Like, and I love that you hear that phrase, well, it's better to have loved than lost, to never have loved at all. And I'm very much like you, Sean. Like, if I'm in a relationship, you got to pry the shit out of me from that. Like, the horse was dead and I'm trying to give it water. Okay. Yeah. And yet sometimes it also comes down to loving ourselves and looking at what's good for us, because you can love from a distance and right. You can, maybe you love, but it's the wrong partner, right? So what can you share about that? Because I think this is so helpful to people who are, to men particularly, who will never ask for help, who are going through this right now.
I think the self-love thing was massive for me. I had to figure out what that really looked like. We hear that, like, do you love yourself? Well, sure. But like, I had to really understand, like, who am I, number one, without a partner, but who am I when a partner wants to leave me? Because I had spent most of my life in the hero archetype, right? Like builder, I'll solve the problems. And that's what we men do. We just solve problems. Give me the problem, I'll take it on. Like, doesn't matter. And I had to step back and realize, like, I can't keep doing that to my own demise. Like, if someone wants to leave, I can't chase them and try and solve the problem. Like, here's my commitment. Here are the boundaries. Here's what I'm willing to do. And if you don't want to participate in that, okay. And for most of my life, I was chasing. I was a fixer. I was a builder. That's what all men are. That's what we're programmed to do, is to build. We fucking build statues. We build buildings. We build cities. We build empires. This is what
Colosseum. Oh my God.
Thousands of years. And so we find a woman, we bring this woman in, and we're like, we're going to solve every fucking problem. And I had to step out of that and realize that, like, I can't save people. I can't make someone want something that they don't want. No matter how much I try, no matter how much I do, no matter how much I buy or invest. And that was a really hard thing for me, because I spent most of my life doing it. So the lesson for me has been profound in the sense that, like, I only have control over me. and I'm going to continue to build me and keep my word to my agreements, and the people that want to be part of my life will be. And I'm not going to beg people or, try and persuade people based off of success or money or business or love to be with me. It's really that simple, but it's also that fucking hard, because that's what we suck at as men. A lot of us suck at that.
Oh,
Yeah, Mike, I'm sure you can add to that, because, when I see you guys are the epitome. Now, as a matchmaker, what do women want? Okay. They want a man of status. They want a man who's confident. They want the provider, the protector, good looking guy, great body. Like, ladies, every time I do a live with Mike, you know what? My DMs are, is he single? Sean, I'm probably going to have a shit ton of women are like, okay, how do I get to Sean? And like, you guys are like I don't want to say trophy, but I don't know if you have a good sense of humor. I'm sure your values.
Sean has a good sense of humor. I watch him
funny as fuck.
Are you funny as
He's good. He's good. I laugh many times.
Yeah. And partnership is choice, right? But it's how much sacrifice are you going to make? Like, where do you really, agree on? Because a lot of people prioritize looks and body. It's so important that you have that. Yet, you would think, oh, any woman would want me. So I get the impact of that it would have on your ego. Mike, what was it like for you to have been rejected by your daughter's, the mother of your daughter? And then, here you are, seemingly having everything on the checklist. Yet again, as Sean said, you can't control what somebody else does. So what's your advice to somebody who's like that? Because guys might go, shit, these two can't keep that. I'm fucked. Like, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Mike.
No. First of all, big respect, Sean. You're owning it. That's what's beautiful. You're owning it. And that's what I really think is masculine. So masculine is an energy, by the way. It's not a look. It's an energy, and in that energy comes a look. But for me, it was very, very difficult, because I loved her deeply, even though we were toxic together. But I loved her deeply, and I think what really happened was I had to recreate myself, because I didn't know who I was in that relationship. I had let myself go, and I moved my bound. There were so many things I had to work on with myself. So it was a gift both for her. We are best friends today. We're the best co-parents, because I did the work. And I think where I am now, you could ask the question, are you afraid of love again? Yeah, but I do it afraid. That's the difference. You will be afraid. You will be I think, love is really saying to another person, here's my heart. You have the power to crush it, but I trust you won't. Because otherwise you're in a relationship with yourself. So what I really made sure, and making sure still every single day, is to decide who I am. Who am I? And stick to that. Because, my identity was attached to externals. My identity was attached to my money. It was attached to my looks. It was attached to my girl. It was attached to everything that wasn't mine, that I couldn't control. And what I've done, I've gone the other way this time, where I have attached my identity to the internal, the way I conduct myself, what my non-negotiables are, what my values are, and I fucking protect them with my life. Because I know if the day happens, now I've met a very, very cute and nice lady in America, and I'm giving my heart, and I'm shitting myself every day. Every day I'm shitting myself. But that's courage, right? Courage is doing it afraid. But I know one thing this time, which is that, there's something that's not within my power, and what's within my power, I control 100%. That's where I really like, for the men out there, stoicism. Start to study stoicism, because that's where you learn to control the controllables, which is, what do they say, Sean? Your thoughts, your actions, your reactions. That's all you control. The rest is up to whatever. And that's what I learned.
I love that. Sean, as we're wrapping up, wow, this went by so fast. What are you working on right now? Who are the men that you really impact? What's next for you?
So I'm building this Brotherhood right now. It's a super low ticket deal. My goal is 1 million men. I want to put 1 million men around the same table. This is not a coaching group. It's not a mastermind. We have a monthly town hall meeting that we're doing all over the country. The first one's here in Utah, then we go to Arizona. But my being here in the States, like there's this political unrest. It's just chaos. And so the conversations that I've been having over the last couple of months with men is the question just keeps coming up. Right? Well, what are we going to do? And it's kind of like this general thing, like where guys are like, well, what are we going to do? And everybody's got a coaching program and a mentoring program. And I'm like, look, fuck your brands, fuck the labels, fuck all that shit. Is 1 million men sitting around the same table powerful? Yes. That's it. So my entire thesis right now is building this brotherhood to where we have 1 million men in the same place. We built an app for it. So it's like 1 million men around the same table, proverbial table, if you will. That's power. Like that's revolution. It's like kind of like if I said, Mike, you're going to go run for governor of California, and I have 1 million men that put up $100, that's $100 million towards a campaign. That's game changing. That's how you start changing the world. If I have 1 million men around the same table that are all praying together every day, leading their sons, leading their daughters, and we have this, manifesto and mantra, that's how you really create movement. Because right now, Mike's over here and I'm over here and he's over there and he's over there, and we're all shining our light, which is great. But I'm like, dude, I want to build a fucking army of good men. Good fucking men. Like, I'm not here to tell you what church to join, what book to read. What I'm saying is come to the table, bring your skill sets, bring who you are. Because the truth is, a $70,000 a year Marine has way more value than a $50 million CEO under certain circumstances. A plumber has way more value than a dentist or a lawyer under certain circumstances. And I think we've just got this, like, it's all based off of money. Your value is based off money. Whoever has the most money is the most value. I don't give a shit about a $50 million CEO when my pipe bursts in my basement. I want a fucking plumber. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like if I have a chipped tooth, I'm not calling my lawyer. I don't give a fuck about my lawyer. I want the dentist. So that's where I'm looking at it, saying, guys, take all of the ego and the pride. Bring who you are to the table.
Wow.
Bring who you are to the table, and let's build something fucking dope together. That's what I'm working on.
I love
That's
that.
cool. That's cool. Respect.
When is your first event? And are you collaborating with other men who have big groups? Is there an opportunity to do that also?
Yeah, we're not doing, really any, like, I'm not running ads to it yet or anything along those lines. It's $27 a month to join.
Okay.
It's less than a fucking thing. Yeah. This is not a big money maker. This is not like a coaching group. There's no value add. I literally just have this vision of putting 1 million men at the same table. So I'm just calling on all men, everybody. If you're a man and you understand that sitting at a table with 1 million other fucking powerful dudes can help your life, and you have skill sets and value that you want to bring to the table. If you're a father, if you have sons, like bring my son is my oldest son is 19, my youngest son is 16. Like they're going to be sitting at the table with me. So this isn't just like, this is old school. Like, I'm like Genghis Khan bringing all of the tribes together to take over the world. And I'm like, that number is just in my brain, like 1 million, because I understand the power of unity. I understand the power of collective. And again, it's hard. It sounds funny because this should just be a given, but men have such big fucking egos and they're like, oh, well, what's in it for me? Or what am I going to do? Or why would I pay this or whatever? I'm like, look, motherfucker, like the game is to get us at the same table. And that's the problem, is guys are over here just beating their own drum, which is great. I love it. There's a lot of good men out there, but if we put 1 million, that's like where you can really start to change the game. That's where you start changing politics. That's where you start changing schools. That's where you start changing lives and families and fathers and sons. And so I'm kind of,
here's the thing. 1 million men. Imagine 1 million men can buy Mike's latest book.
Right?
Yeah. He buys his latest book, and they've already got
do some events. Just do some events around the state. Right? Your message is so beautiful, so pure.
Absolutely.
That's what the game plan is our whole focus right now. Is we built this app so we have communication, we have education, we have guys in there, Navy SEALs and billionaires that are adding value. But the whole vision that I have is these monthly town halls. And My goal is that we fill up stadiums. Is that when Salt Lake City, we go to the Delta Center, we have 40,000 men at our monthly town hall. And then we go to the Rose Bowl, or we go to the, whatever, the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. And we really build an army of men. And so when we have these monthly town halls, it satellites out to everybody else. They can watch it virtually. And we just start filling up stadiums of good men. Like, the goal is, like, Mike, you and I know this. This is like really fucking powerful, because if I put 100 men in a room and there's no leader, there's no objective, there's no agenda, and all I do is put 100 men in the room and lock the door, watch what happens. Big fucking things will happen in that room. And I think that's where so many guys are like thinking, well, what is it? And what do we do? And I'm like, dude, just get in the room and we're going to figure this shit out, whether it's politics, whether it's whatever it is. And that's what I'm a very firm believer on, is you put 100 dudes in there, you're going to have some nerds. Well, good. You go do the nerd shit. You make sure the websites work. You're going to have some soldiers and say, cool, you get your guns and protect the door. You're going to have guys that are like chefs and pastries guys, and good, you feed us. You know what I'm saying? This is the old school vision that I have of just bringing men together.
Tribe. Yeah.
Change the world. Because if we do that here, it grows, and then we go here, and then it's just like, I don't know, maybe it's this euphoric idea that I have, but I don't see any reason why we can't do it.
I love that. And I have one, I'm just going to steal one last question. This is for the ladies. This is for the guys. Now, I don't know where you're at in your journey to partnership, but should you get to that point where, you're at a point where you're like, you know what, I can go all in again, whether that's whenever that is. What are you going to be looking for in a partner that could fit with your life, your lifestyle, your high demand? I would love to just, give me the 5 traits or 3 things that you'd really look for before you go in again.
I mean, I'm there now. That's the interesting thing about separation and divorce, is it's like there's this idea that you have to go spend years healing and whatever else. It's like, I'm the same guy now, like with the same vision, with the same ideas, with the same love and the same passion that I was when I got married. She just chose not to participate anymore. That doesn't change me. That doesn't change who I am. That doesn't change the love, the adoration that I have for love and connection and the whole thing. She just chose to kind of leave the conversation, which is totally fine. Like, I mean, to me, I think the most powerful thing is a woman that doesn't need me. Like, I'm a provider. Like, I'll pay the bills. Like, that's what it is. Like, I spoil anybody who followed me for any period of time. So I spoiled the living shit out of my wife. Like, there is nothing she didn't have. Her closet rivals a country music star. She's got more fucking clothes and sound bowls and shit like that. That's the easy part, right? Like, I love to spoil my person, but I think a woman who doesn't need me, she can be happy on her own. Like, when I tell her, hey, I'm going to go for a drive, I'm in a bad mood, I'm just going to go smoke a cigar, I'm not walking out the door. And she's like, well, where are you going to go? And who are you going to see? And whatever else. She's like, yeah, motherfucker, go get your mind right. Come back, we'll have some tacos. That's the gangster shit. That to me is like a real dope woman who can hand me my sword every day as I walk out the door and says, go hunt.
Love that.
And when I come home, I put the meat in the freezer and we're here. Like, not competing with me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I think too, like, Mike knows this, and being in the public eye, it's hard. It's a challenge because people they're going to talk shit on you all day long. But one of the dynamics that I had in this past relationship is that I hate the word celebrity, but like, it gets to people. It can really fuck people up because you become addicted to it. And that was kind of one of the things that was a really hard dance for us, is I'm like, look, man, like who's driving here? Like, it's very clear what I've built. It's very clear where I'm going, and just full transparency. Like, it became almost like an ego thing of, who's trying to be, and that's really, again, it's just unfortunate how it all played out and how it all went down. But a woman who knows who the fuck she is.
Yep. Like,
that femininity is super erotic to a man, where she wants to be a woman. I'm old school. Like, I don't want my woman to work. I'll pay for the maids. Dude, I don't need you cleaning toilets. I got cleaners. Hire a chef. But like, this is my sanctuary. Like, I'm going to provide the home. You make it a home. You know what I mean? And everything from our kids to our life to, like, literally say, I come home and you're like, okay, we're going to go on a trip for a week. These are the 3 options. Here's where I want to go. And I'm like, here's the card. Book it. You know what I'm saying? Because she's like, the energy, we need to like refuel. That's the kind of stuff that a driver, in my opinion, this is gospel according to Sean Whalen, that's what a driver wants. That's what a masculine man wants. I think the coolest scene, there's 2 scenes in 300, in my opinion, the movie 300, that are the most erotic, beautiful scenes. It's a war movie, and it's the dopest love scene. It's not the Notebook when they're at the well and the Persians come in every time. Because when you look at Leonidas, and he doesn't look at his generals, he doesn't look at the council. When he turns and he looks at his woman, right? He doesn't say anything. She doesn't say anything. And for those ladies, if you want to know what is the most attractive trait, like the most attractive trait to a guy like me or a guy like Mike or a driver, go watch that 5-second scene, because she does one thing. All she does is she just picks her head up. That's it. It's the most erotic thing ever, because she just literally, he turns and he looks at her, and she's not like, well, what are you going to do? You're going to kill him? All she does, literally her energy, you can see it in her energy. She just like stands a little bit taller. And that's all she had to say to him.
That's queen energy.
Like, when he's going out to war, she hands him and says, come back on your shield or with it, or come back with your shield or on it. She's not like, where are you going to go? How long are you going to be gone? Will you be home by dinner? Go, motherfucker. Go do what you got to do. I'll be here when you get back. To me, for me, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for.
Very powerful. Mike, is there anything you want to say to close that, guys?
It's just, you know, when you develop yourself into, and I'm not going to come sounding like an arrogant guy, but when you develop on yourself to a point where you literally don't give a fuck, that doesn't mean you don't care. You just don't give a fuck. You have this king energy, and and only a queen can carry that. And what you described there is just, that's queen. That's a queen.
Well, I think I want to say something what you just said, and I want people to know this. The people that talk about not caring are the people that care the most.
Yeah.
It's what we care about.
True.
And I can say, 0 fucks given, but the truth is I give a lot of fucks.
Yeah.
I give a ton of fucks, but only of the things that I want to, like my family and my business and my kingdom. And I like for women to understand that, like, if you can be that, queen at the well, there is nothing that a man won't do for you, including work on himself, grow himself, learn you. Like, and I think that's what's really beautiful about a relationship is when, I think there's this idea that men are just out here, they don't give a shit, and this is just my whatever. Men want that deep connection. They want that reality. And when you get to learn that man, and that man gets to learn you, and you're not competing with him, like you're opening up your heart, you're showing him all of you, and he shows you all of him. There is nothing, like Mike said earlier, there's nothing more erotic than handing your heart to somebody and giving them the opportunity to like know you or crush you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. This went by too fast. Guys, we are live streaming on multiple platforms. Thank you, Sean Whalen, for your wisdom, your, everything that you gave to us. Mike, it was a pleasure. I hope that we connect offline as well.
Sure.
This is it. This wraps up Man Up Mondays, guys. We will see you next week.
Thank
you, Sean. See you, buddy. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.